Welcome to another episode of I Take.
D.
I'm Joel.
And I'm Carla.
And this is 20 years in the making.
Yes.
This is episode numero siete. Siete.
Yes.
7. Episode 7. And so this is season 5. Last time we had a very intimate and vulnerable conversation.
Yeah, we talked about our wedding day.
Talked about our wedding day, and it got
our challenges after our being married.
Yes,
right?
Arguments and disagreements, and not learning how to live with each other.
Yeah.
And then
we talked about our humongous challenge that we faced after being married for a year.
Yeah, which is as you've watched, it was a miscarriage that Carla had. That was a very, very dark moment in our relationship. But then, we continue to have challenges, but we share that we were not giving up on our marriage. We were like, we're going to make this work.
Yes.
Even if right now I can't stand you. We were going to make it work. We always told each other, like, you know what, right now, I'm not a fan of you, but I still love you.
Yes.
Which is, something that we told ourselves, we were not going to use the word divorce. We were not going to use the word separation, because we knew that the minute you open that door and you said, you know what, then if this doesn't work out, let's get divorced, you've already given yourself like a way out.
That's right.
And this is not for families or couples that are going through like abuse, like physical, emotional, sexual abuse. Like, that's not what we're saying here. Like, if that's going on, you need to seek help.
That's right.
And in some cases, you gotta go, because your life is in danger. And if there's kids involved, even faster.
Yeah.
What we're saying here is that we were just in a lot of disagreements. We were arguing with each other, raising our voices at times that, we disrespected each other so much.
Challenges that everyone comes together, that go through a relationship, because not all the time you're going to agree. Right. There's certain times that there's going to be some disagreements, and how we maneuver that. Those are the kind of the daily challenges, and like we have shared in many episodes before, love is a choice.
Yes,
you have to make the choice.
Yeah, not just a choice in action. Like you, every day you wake up, you have to make the choice to love the person you're with, and then work at it with actions. Like you have to take actions. That's why, like, I really don't understand when people say, "Well, we just fell out of love." Well, if you fell out of love, it's because you didn't work hard on it.
No, you didn't make the choice every single day to love this person.
That's right. Yeah.
Aside from all the misunderstandings and the conflict, that you still chose to love this person.
Yeah, you didn't fall out of love. You just chose not to love.
Yeah. And like I said, when you fall out of love, like that famous quote people like to use to kind of separate against each other, it's because you really didn't put any effort of working out in your marriage, right? Because I don't think anyone that has experienced the gym and wants to lose weight or wants to build muscles can say, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to have the muscles I want, I'm going to have the body figure I want. It takes daily workouts in the gym, a healthy diet, whatever it is.
And you always got to work on it.
Yeah, and whatever to get you where you want to be. And it's always going to take hard work. And there's going to be days that you don't want to wake up and go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever the time you choose to. There are going to be days just like, I just don't want to do it. But if you stop doing it, you're not going to get to your goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know some of you might be like, well, no, you're wrong. That's okay. That's okay. You don't have to agree with us. We're just sharing our experience and where we've been. And so we 2002 goes on, 2003, 2004, we are venturing into buying our first home as a married couple. We had this person who was like, you guys should get like a 2-family home so that you could start. We were like, no, we want a 1-family. So we started looking. We were not giving up. We said, no, we want a 1-family. So we started looking. We were living in East Hartford by then. Now, I was born and raised in Hartford. She grew up in Hartford, but there was a period of her life that she also grew up in East Hartford. So we moved in, and where we lived at the beginning of our marriage was in East Hartford. Now, we were looking for a home in East Hartford, Manchester, Glastonbury, anywhere in the greater Hartford area.
That's right.
And we looked and looked.
I think it was a painful process of
buying a home. Oh my God. Those of you who have looked for homes, this process is painful. We put offers on certain
There
homes
were
that,
plenty of disappointments.
yes, we were outbid. And
Several times.
oh my God, it was so frustrating.
More than I can even recall or think of.
Yeah. So then this home came about, and it was in Hartford, in the south end of Hartford.
You saw it first.
Well, so they called us, and you couldn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to see it,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh my God, it has everything we need. We were looking for a garage. We were looking for my wife wanted a fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
We needed at least 3 bedrooms,
Mm-hmm.
and a basement.
That's right.
And we wanted a nice yard with a fence, and we got it all.
Yes.
So that was our 139 Exeter Street home
It's
in
always
Hartford.
good to dream and always to put down what you really want.
Yeah. We knew what we were looking for.
Exactly.
We knew what we were looking for, and we were not gonna settle for nothing less than what God had
That's right.
for us in our home.
Mm-hmm.
And we lived there for 13 years.
Yes,
As we continue to talk about our 20 years in the making, you'll hear that we lived there for 13 years.
13 years. Our girls grew up there.
Yes, they sure did, and so did Jordy, our doggy.
Mm-hmm.
So there. Also, let me back up a little bit. When I left the Marines, I had no job. Carla had found a job, and the way I found my job was pretty funny because my wife had applied for a job, and the HR person called for her. I was the one at home, and so they asked for Carla.
Yeah.
And Carla was not home, so I told them, no, she's not home. I told them, and they're like, oh, well, we were calling for a job. I said, actually, she just found a job.
It just challenges, because if this happened like a month before he was coming home from the Marine, that I was actually laid off. I was let go.
Yeah.
And so talk about challenges, right? And here we are trying to plan a wedding.
Yeah, trying to plan a wedding, and we're both without a job.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was...
So talk about God's grace, right?
Yes, seriously.
We want to do things right, but we don't have a job now. We lost our jobs, and you just, again, how God's grace works.
Oh my God, yeah, it was very difficult. So the lady's like, she was very daring. She's like, because I told her, well, my wife already found a job, but thank you for calling us. And then she says, well, what are you doing home? I was like, I just got out of the Marines, and I'm looking for employment. And so she says to me, will you be interested in applying for the job? And I'm like, sure. They're like, if you can come tomorrow, we'll do the interview. You can fill out the application right there and then. And that's how I got my first job after the Marines. It was really, they were calling for Carla, and then they were wondering what was I doing home. And I got my first job, working as a patient service rep. So here we are now. You know, God is good. We're both working. We're still struggling a lot. If it wasn't because we qualified for the WIC program, and we used to get the farmers markets little tokens and vouchers. I don't know how there were moments where
we struggle financially.
Yeah, like how many times did Abuelita, my grandma, and like aunties and uncles, and even mom, dad, would just drop off groceries out of nowhere.
I know. It was
in our most needy,
most needed times.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about two youngsters in the early 20s.
Yeah, with a young girl,
and recently had laid off. Just and it's just been. It was such a challenging moment in our life, but a really humbling experience for us.
It really was. I think that helped us grow and to trust God, because even after we got jobs, we were still struggling. I mean, my job was like, minimum wage. Her job was minimum wage.
We were living paycheck by paycheck.
We were living paycheck to paycheck, and it was very, very difficult. But we got through it. We were able to get our credit scores up, and save enough to buy our first home. Yes. So we bought our first home. And oh my God, it was such a beautiful moment. That moment when we opened the door and we could call it our own.
Yes.
And our young one could like run in the backyard.
Yes.
And
I remember our postman comes to our front door.
Oh yeah.
And there, many times through
our guy.
He's like, is your parents home?
Oh yeah.
That was the question of
we just looked so young. I mean, we were 24.
I was like, no, we
are the owners.
of this home. So it was just how God put us in this perfect path, and aside from all obstacles and our challenges, but no one can believe us such a young age. We're able to establish our credit and buy our first home and call it our home and call it ours, and be blessed to be there for
Yeah.
13 years
Yeah.
before we can even think about our second home,
I know.
which is
that's
where
so
we
true.
are today,
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
years later, right?
Yeah, we were able to buy our first home. And within a year, we got a doggy. That's where Jordan
Yes,
comes from. He's still
the family was
still
blessed
alive.
with our dog.
Yeah, still wagging his tail like nobody's business. That's our son. And so we were still trying to have a child.
Yeah, we have many challenges. So
A lot of
since our first
challenges.
miscarriage.
We went to like treatments.
Yeah.
And it was just very, very difficult. So here we are now. We bought our home, and here we are now, 2005 or 6. We Carla goes through. She gets laid off again.
Yes, oh my goodness, I do get laid off again.
And I'm still struggling with what I'm making. And we fell behind about 2 months in our mortgage.
Yes.
And so you know how they are, very quickly to like, well, if you can't pay it, we're going to take it back. And it almost went on foreclosure. And so within a week, we needed to find $8,500 like this. We barely had $100. How are we going to find any $8,500? And so we were like desperate. We just did not know what to do. And just to speed up the
and that
story.
was just a few short months.
Oh my God, I know.
I have to like let people know. I was like, I was not laid off. Like I've been blessed to, in the times and challenges that I have been laid off for, whatever reason, and that employment, that agency around that time, I've been blessed enough that I have obtained a job
like this, yeah,
like quickly.
Yeah.
As the grace of God, again, opening doors quickly. So this was just a brief 2 month, right, of being behind. This is how lovely our system is, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've been faithful from the very beginning, and here we are, just those 2 months we couldn't, and they were very quick to say, well, then we're going to go through the foreclosure, take away our first home. We were devastated. It was so we're still trying to get to know each other.
That's right.
We're still having our struggles as a couple.
Yeah, we're challenging. We have our challenges of getting pregnant. We're not able to get
We're
pregnant.
not. Yeah. So there's all these frustrations. I want you to keep all that in mind with like, at least for context. Like there's so much pressure as a young couple, and here we are. We got to come up with $8,500, and oh my God, we are getting so close to the wire that it was a week before they were gonna go officially going for the deadline. And we were like, what are we gonna do? But all we kept hearing is like, trust in the Lord. And I'm like, we're trusting, but they're gonna take our home.
Yes.
And I'm like, we're desperate. Like, we have to look for something.
Yes.
And one day before we had to go to court for the foreclosure, somebody got in contact with my mother-in-law, Carla's mom, and they were like, hey, I know I've seen your daughter before. I need to talk to them. God has put in my heart to talk to them. But he didn't want to share with my mother-in-law, like, about why. She was
Details.
like, okay, what's going on? Like, you don't even know me like that. So, anyways, long story short, she gives him our number, and he contacts us, and he tells us about a business deal that he had 5 years before that. So if it's 2005, it must have been around 2000 that he had a business deal, and that he had made some money off of that, and that he felt in his heart that God told him, put that away, put that to the side. I'll let you know when you're going to use that. And then he kept with his business. He kept making money.
Yeah.
And then he tells us, he's like, I want to, I don't know what you're going through, but God tells me that you need this amount of money. And guess the amount that he said. The very same exact amount that we needed, $8,500. That's what he had in his bank. And so he gave it to us.
To the T. No, nothing less or lower.
No, nothing less, nothing more. To the amount that we needed to put it out there so that we wouldn't go in foreclosure.
Yeah, and that was such a blessing for this man of God. And, that thank God for men like these. And women such as these that get led by God.
Yeah, they feel it in their heart. God puts it in their heart. They go out there and do it.
They don't doubt or they do not question.
Yeah.
Because this individual pretty much saved us from losing our home.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
he does not know the extent of what he did through to us, just by allowing him be led by God. So
Yeah.
those are the things that, aside from everything that we're going through in our marriage, that was another big, like I said, like a curveball coming to us again in our marriage. Almost the possibility of losing our home with no fault to ours, because I had no control of layoffs, and we had no idea that we were going to encounter that.
Yeah. So our home was saved. He helped us out to this day. We're very grateful. And, you know, thank God that he was able to move according to what he felt in his heart.
Yes.
And he saved our home. And so we're able to stay there and again, like live another,
13 years there.
we lived 13 years in that home.
That's right.
But our time is up. Next time we connect, we're going to talk about a struggle that I had, and I had to reveal to my wife in 2008. And then in 2009, we'll share other things that are going on. So we're going to speed up a little bit, just so that, you know, we are able to share as much as possible, just so that you can, you know, connect. Because there might be stories that might be similar to yours, and can help you through what you're going through right now. So you can follow us on.
You can follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook, and also on TikTok. Both subscribe to our YouTube channel, I Take D Ministry, and watch our full episodes.
Yes. So, you know, please share with others if you feel that this could be helpful.
Yep, and thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you very much.